request the chief guest of today's function, Professor Bhattunatha Satyanarayan, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Central University of Karnataka, to come on. I also request Shri K. Dwarakanath Babu, Director of KILPA, to come on the dais. Request Dr. Basuraj Kupkadi sir, Head of the Department of Law, to come on the dais. And I also request Dr. Revaya Vadayer, program offering prayer to the Bharata Mata. To this I request Vidya. Thank you, Vidya. And now
इंसाफ के इस हाशिया पर हक हमारा भी तो है। एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है। एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है। लाचारों को न्याय
these type of programs, and he support all the activities of the department, especially the Department of Law. He will take care of. So for this August gathering, I welcome you, sir, on behalf of the Department of Law. I feel proud to welcome Sri K. Dwarkanath Babu, sir, who is the Director of Karnataka Institute for Law and Parliamentary Reforms, Bengaluru. Sir, on behalf of the Department of Law, Central University of Karnataka, I welcome you to this program. I welcome Dr. Revaya Vadiyar, Research at Karnataka Institute for Law and Parliamentary Reform, to this program. I welcome you, sir. I also welcome Dr. Anant D. Chinchure, Assistant Professor, Department of Law and a coordinator of this program. I welcome you to this program. I welcome Sri Pranesh Bharat sir, Law Officer Senior, Kalburgi Division, to this gathering. And also I welcome all the prosecutors who are present here and who will actually enlighten us with their data. Sir, I welcome you all to this program. I welcome the staff members and students of other departments, and
to introduce today's the inaugurator of this conference, Honorable Mr. Justice Ramchandra D. Gudar, Judge, High Court of Karnataka. First, Honorable Professor Bhattu Satyanarayan sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Central University of Karnataka, to felicitate Honorable Justice Ramchandra Gudar. I welcome you, sir, and I request Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Bhattu Satyanarayan sir to felicitate Sri Dwarkanath Babu. I request my colleague and head of the Department of Law, Dr. Basaraj Kulkarni, to felicitate our Honorable Vice Chancellor. Thank you. One more guest, and I request my colleague Dr. Basaraj Kulkarni to felicitate Sri Dr. Revaya Vadiyar. Thank you.
Dvantan Deepo Bhakshayate Dvantan Jadrisi Praja Deep Jyotir Par Brahma Deep Jyotir Janardanah Deep Jyotir Janardanah Deepe Haratu Me Papam Deep Jyotir Namostute Ayam Nijah Padho Veti Ganna Laghu Chetasham Udar Charita Nam Tu Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam.
The Karnataka Institute for Law and Parliamentary Reform and Department of Law, School of Legal Jurisprudence Studies, the Central University of Karnataka, have organized this conference on the subject Victim Protection and Criminal Justice for Witness and Under Trials. Professor Bhattu Satyanarayan, the Chief Guest of today's function, in the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Central University of Karnataka. Sri K. Dwarakanath Babu, Director Karnataka Institute for Law and Parliamentary Reform, Dr. Basuraj M. Babakadi, Head of Department of Law, Revu Vadesa, the organizer of this function, Dr. Anand Chinchapure, Dr. Evaya Uria, including faculty members of this university, who are the speakers or the resource persons to this conference, dear students. The subject which has been chosen appears to be a very apt subject for the today's conditions. This victim protection and criminal justice for witness and under trials is very much required. If you read the provisions of the criminal jurisprudence, though law is there, provisions are there, but we are unable to provide protection to the victims, and there is no proper rendering justice to the victims, even to the witness also. So on that count, the word victim, which is now the subject of this conference, is not at all defined anywhere in the Indian law. So to say there is no proper definition of a victim, but as you all know, the victim is a person who has been harassed by the society or by any individual person and violate the legal rights vested in that particular individual. So to say, if a crime is committed, the jurisprudence says that till the guilt is proved, the accused is innocent. Once the guilt is proved, he is called as a But what about the victims? The victim's protection is very, very necessary. The subject which you have chosen for this conference is the ARC subject. And now, you are all the law students, you are all the future judiciary rather. Because this advocate profession is a noble profession. And if you want to become advocate, if you want to serve the society, this is one of the mode of serving the society, becoming an advocate. You have got so many options. To serve the society, you become advocate. You are not supposed to become the advocate by accident. By choice, you have to become the advocate. So that you can make use of your services to the society, especially the victims of the crimes. Please see that you are going to be the advocates. It must be by choice, not by accident. And see that the society is protected, because you are also one of the responsible citizens of India, and it is every duty of a citizen of India to protect the law, to maintain law and order, you have to guide the people, you have to enlighten the citizens that this is the law which has to be followed. So as you are going to be the advocates, see that the victims are being protected and justice is being rendered to the victims. For giving this opportunity to share my few thoughts with you all, I thank the organizer of this function. Thank you for patient hearing. Thank you.
So thank you for your inspirable words. Now I request Professor Bhattu Satyanarayana ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Central University of Karnataka, to address the day.
Justice Ramchandra D. Udarji, Sri K. Dwarakanath Babuji, the Director, the Karnataka Institute of Law and Parliamentary Reform, the other guests, the research scholars, dear students. I am congratulating the Department of Law and Legal Jurisprudence Studies, Central Karnataka, and Karnataka Institute for Law and Parliamentary Reform for organizing this seminar that is on victim protection and criminal justice for witnesses and under trials. Whatever you are studying in theory is totally different from the what is happening in the reality. Our Honorable Justice Ramchandra Udahar, he has explained, because he is a judge, he has witnessed many things. Because in his entire service he has delivered many judgments. He conducted many examined many under trials, witnesses. So he has shared his personal experience here. Definitely, when such persons come and share their experience, definitely that will benefit the student community, particularly the law students. We are going to become the lawyers and to protect the law in this country. Criminal is a criminal. The criminal should be punished. If the criminal is protected, no one will work peacefully without fear. And this type of conferences definitely that provide a platform to the learners to learn many things which we cannot find from the books. Because these experts, with their experience, they will share their experience, definitely that will benefit you. With this, I thank these organizers, particularly the Department of Law, for giving this opportunity. I thank one and all.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words suggesting work without fear. I would request Shri K. Dwarakanath Babu, Director of KILPA, to have presidential remarks.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Justice Ramchandra sir, Judge High Court of Karnataka, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sri Bhattu Satyanarayan sir, and Head of the Law Department here, Basura Mukherjee, and all faculty members and students gathered here. Today, we thought it is our responsibility to organize such a seminar where is the need of the day, as Honorable Justice and the Vice Chancellor has told you. As we notice, witnesses are very much neglected in our society. Unless witness is protected, you will not come to court. Why you will come to court? See, it is the responsibility of the government to give justice. But witness, when he is threatened, in addition to threatening, he will lose his livelihood coming to the court every day. His trial will go for years together. And every time coming to court, losing his salary, and these things, he may not be willing. So, in many times, what I feel, even witness should be given TADA or his loss of salary for coming to the court and expressing his statement. So, compensating victim as well as witness is very necessary. Otherwise, cannot be a fair trial in the criminal side. The purpose of this seminar is creating awareness and the exchange of practical difficulties. Our prosecutors are here. 4 prosecutors have been deputed here to express their views to you students. I feel that we should make use of this opportunity and utilize this. With these words, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your present remarks. Now we conclude the inaugural session by vote of thanks from Mr. Pawan Kumar, Research Scholar, Department of Law.
First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Justice Mr. Ramchand D. Uddar, Judge, High Court of Karnataka. I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Battu Satyanarayan, Chief Guest of this program. I would like to thank our presided guest, Sri K. Dwarkanath Babu, Director, Karnataka Institute of Law and Parliamentary Reform. I also would like to thank Dr. Ravi Odiyar, Research Head, Karnataka Institute of Law and Parliamentary Reform. I also would like to thank Professor Baswaraj M. Kovagadi, Sir, Head, Department of Law. I also would like to thank Professor Anand D. Chinchure, Sir. I also would like to thank our Renuka ma'am. I also would like to thank some prosecutors and advocates who are coming from the city to joining this program and making this so productive and wonderful. Thank you, sir.
We begin for the paper presentation session, and I would like to call our panel members, Professor S. Godabarna Sir, who is Professor of Law, KLE Society Law College, Bengaluru. Sri Raja Mahendra Sir, Public Prosecutor. Fardos Laskar, Sunil Kalagi, Aparna J. Sindhe, Vijay Pal, Farhad Sultana, Jitendra Kumar, Sivesh Patnayak, Sip Omar, Saurabh Kumar Singh, Ritika Sahu, Abhishek Singh, Nikita, Sonam Devi, Srisel, Gopal Krishna, Nishan, Prem Piyush Pandey, and Shyamal Singh.
My fellow mates. So, I am Suhana Firdaus Lashkar from
Sunil Kalaji from SSL Law College, Kalburgi.
Topic on emerging trends in technology and study on cyber crimes.
The topic for the study for this conference is victim of the crime as a vulnerable person, their rights, restoration and legal care under the Indian criminal jurisprudence with special reference to the Gulbarga region.
My topic in analytical is study of victim witnesses assistance program, the judicial approach.
Now, I would like to invite Farhad Sultana, SSL Law College, Kalburgi.
The paper on the topic of examining the use of technology in witness testimony and evidence presentation in Indian criminal crimes.
Today I, Sivesh Patnaik from Department of Law, Central University of Karnataka.
I am Rana Saurabh Kumar Singh, LLM student of Central University of Karnataka.
Ritika Sahu, student of LLM first year from Central University of Karnataka.
Kumar, LLM second year student, Central University of Karnataka, to come and give the presentation.
Today I am going to present, my topic is right of the victim of marginalized section with reference to Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe, Prevention of Atrocity Act 1989.
I would like to call Prem Piyush Pandey.
Today I am here to present on the topic witness protection in Indian criminal justice system.
My topic is victimization, a focused study on rape
and dowry cases in India.
Sonam Devi, I am second year student, Central University of Karnataka.
I am Gopal Krishna Nishan, LLM second year student of Central University of Karnataka.
I would like to call upon Mr. Abhishek Singh.
I am pleased to be here today to present on very important topic, vulnerable cyber space and victims of cyber crime.
I would like to invite our panel member, Professor S.C. Godabanavar sir, to give remarks on the presentation.
I just have to comment on them. Just I will tell them how to present the paper. You have 6 minutes, not more than 6. Okay, and you should know what to tell, what not to tell. Don't mind. Thank you.
We are going to start our technical session 1. For this session, the source person will be Professor S.G. Godabanavar sir, Professor of Law, KLE Society, Law College, Bangalore. And the chairperson will be Dr. Devi Das G. Male, Dean Faculty of Law, Gulbarga University, Kalburgi. Prosecutor Kalburgi.
Victim means a person. Victim means a person who has suffered any loss or injury caused by reason of the act, omission for which accused person has been charged. So this definition needs to be redefined. This definition needs to be relooked. What a point. So victim, he has to be neutrally. Don't see from one side. Don't see from one angle. It has to be from the broader perspective. Even charged persons could be victim. And even a lot of the time, the Supreme Court said, in case of a victim name should not be mentioned. Okay, Supreme Court has said there is a rule also that in case of a sexual abuse in the rape cases, the victim name should not be appeared and the proceeding should be conducted at trial and all those things. Now my question is that why accused person should not be population? The same way victim has a right not to name her in any proceedings or in any advertisement or in any debate or any reporting also. Then, suppose an example, the persons against whom the rape charges are made and you discuss about their name, everything you discuss on the media trial, on the paper, everything, and after trial, if they are acquitted, what happens to them? What happens to them? Why you are looking at victim from one side? So even accused persons could be victim. So why they should not have a right to privacy? Why their name should not be hidden till the trial is over? Obviously, logically, reason. So this is the definition. Definitely, it's outdated definition. Outdated definition. It requires a major operation. It is not a small operation. It requires substantial operations. Got the point? So again, I am saying this is the system is one-sided. Even in the 21st century, we are definitely on the side of accused person. It should not be there. It should not be there. It should not be there. That's one thing. That's one thing. The next thing is that 357 burden will be less in a 357 only if you strengthen the civil justice. If you strengthen the civil justice, there will be no pressure on the 357. Okay, strengthen the civil justice. Make it a speedy justice. Okay, make it a less cost effective. Definitely, there will be not a burden on the 357. That's one thing. Second thing, I said remove the concept of a fine, introduce the concept of a compensation. That is the second thing. Then the third thing, suppose for example, already said in a criminal matter itself, allow the party to appoint his own advocate and claim the compensation. Then what happens? Going on the civil side will be zero. Everything is settled in the criminal case only. Both cases are settled, civil side and other things.
Victim compensation, possibilities and realities. He made very critically by going through the definition of the compensation, definition of victim, definition of charge and many things. And they are all noteworthy and needs to be taken into account wherever possible. because you are all criminal law students. Further research is needed, further discussions are needed. If you are having any kind of further additions, interventions, sir is here, we can further discuss on the point. And every bit of his point of laws, how they are in realities and how they are in theory. So with these words I would like to conclude my observations. As is a very mature, senior teacher, I am not able to even digest his speech because I become very smaller man to comment upon his presentations.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words.
Professor S.G. Godathnar sir, because I am working as Senior Law Officer, Kalaburagi Division, and it covers 7 districts. So each and every case from JMFC to Sessions will come to my table after disposal, and I will form an opinion and send it to the Chief Office Bangalore. So I am the person who knows what's happening in the court of law, in the judicial system, because with due respect to your opinion, observation and everything, but it was whatever you expressed about the role of prosecutor only to concentrate on conviction of the accused, sentencing him. Okay, but now the scenario is totally changed. In every courts, our prosecutors are particularly mentioning about giving compensation to the victims even if the accused get acquitted. It is happening. Even it is coming in the judgments also. Apart from sentence and imposing fine, the judicial officers in their judgments, they are mentioning that the victim is also entitled to get compensation under section 357 of the CRPC from the DLSA or concerned authority. So it is happening, but I am sorry, this is a real fact, because we are working in the courts, my friends. Though I am an officer in a division, but my friends, they are working in the court, they are very much interested and they take utmost care about the victim.
I'm not denying, so what you are
No. What you told is, the role of the prosecutor is to get sentence, that's all. That is not correct, sir.
That is a psychological factor. Psychological factor, I am telling you. Got the point? I am advocate, proper prosecutor, if he sentence I get the name, fame and all. That is psychological factor. I am not in a court verdict. 357 was drafted, A is drafted. Okay, so compensation is delivering, happening. But it has to come at the all level. Okay, so mindset has changed. And that mindset has to change, it takes its own time. It has to happen gradually. Still we are conditioned. I'm asking a question, if you are so good, legislation is so interested to award the compensation, why you are not changing the word fine? Why they are not changing the fine? Why they are retaining in the pit? And why the Supreme Court saying that the accused must have capacity to pay? Don't you think it is the mindset of the judiciary? It is, I am talking about the Supreme Court. Forget, they are the best of the judges. Okay, when that is the mindset, then think about the mindset at the lower level, at the bottom level. That's what I am speaking. I am not denying the contribution made by the judiciary.
You truly made this day full of knowledge for us, sir. Your deep and intellectual way of conveying the subject has added to glory of this lecture. It is really an informative lecture in a true sense. Sir, thank you so much. I would like to thank Chairperson Dr. Devidas G. Malay, Dean Faculty of Law, Gulbarga University, Kalaburagi. Thank you for being part of this lecture, sir. And I would like to thank Mrs. Ampamma, Public Prosecutor, Kalburagi Division. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being part of this lecture.
So my statement for the next 15 minutes would be largely futuristic, and I would talk about some of the conceptual and jurisprudential underpinnings into this topic. So in this particular context, as we all probably know by this now, so India and the world is actually on the verge of technological revolution, right? So data has become like the new oil, and we are trying to essentially figure out how we are going to make the best use out of it. Many of the scholars are even claiming that this is the new chapter in Indian and in human history. So my focus is going to be on emerging technologies, and of course within that I will largely be talking about artificial intelligence and its use. And in that context, I'll also be talking about how do we define victims and how do we understand victim protection for the newer forms of harms that are coming about. So to just give a little bit of a foundational background for all the participants of the conference, we are all surrounded by artificial intelligence whether we know it or not. I mean, like when we use Amazon for the purposes of purchasing certain things, Amazon uses artificial intelligence to provide us to understand what our choices are going to be like and then suggest certain products for us to be bought. If we are the consumers of Netflix or Spotify, we are also using artificial intelligence. Just a few days back, there was a news that Supreme Court of India has actually started using artificial intelligence for the purposes of in transcribing the live proceedings that are going on through the Supreme Court of India. And one of the even more recent examples of artificial intelligence in our lives is ChatGPT. Majority of the news and portals have actually gone ahead and spoken a great deal about how ChatGPT is going to be a threat and pose certain challenges for employment in this country. However, that's not our area. But then the entire point was to highlight as to how we are all surrounded by artificial intelligence. And now this artificial intelligence basically is posing certain challenges for us and also multiple opportunities. Now, all those who are in favor of making sure that we make the positive use of artificial intelligence largely talk about what are the benefits of artificial intelligence. India AI, that's the official portal of Government of India, talking about the advancements of artificial intelligence. It basically focuses heavily on the positives of artificial intelligence. At the same time, we do have to keep in mind that there are going to be certain challenges. But before I go to the challenges part, let me just take a few steps to highlight as to what would be the benefits of artificial intelligence, especially to the courts and criminal justice system in general, and law enforcement agencies. So, first and foremost, that artificial intelligence, when it collects the data and processes all of this data, it uses this sort of building its own mechanisms of solving problems or looking at the problems. So it detects patterns across the behavior. It helps us to analyze the people's behavior and try to figure out what is the criminal behavior look like. How is crowd likely to behave in a particular instance? It also helps us protect the critical information infrastructure of India. It also is likely to help us predict the patterns and behavioral patterns of human beings and also patterns across the crimes that are going to be committed. So, of course, we are essentially engaging into a domain of crime forecasting, trying to figure out when and which crimes are likely to happen and how they are going to go happen, who is likely to commit those crimes. So it's going to be giving us a particular way of figuring out how do we go ahead and use it for the betterment of law enforcement agencies, prevention of commission of crimes and all of that. At the same time, to assist courts also, with the e-courts committee of the Supreme Court of India recently in its third phase of draft that it has released for making our courts digital in this country, has actually used the concepts of AI and has said that they will be looking into deployment of artificial intelligence at multiple levels. One of the experiments that was recently done in the UK, or in the US actually, was AICI, that is Artificial Intelligence and Cognitive Interviewing. And in that context, when it becomes really difficult for a witness, let's say, to kind of understand and capture and remember everything that has transpired, whatever that they have witnessed in the past or they have suffered in the past. Now, AICI was that technology which basically was a chatbot, which was engaging with these victims and witnesses. It was asking them questions and record their responses. Now, of course, when this gets done, immediately the incident has happened. The authenticity and the clarity of what actually transpired that would be recorded by the victim or the witness would of course be a lot more. And then the studies have proven that the accuracy level of AICI has actually been a lot better. So of course in this way also for law enforcement and criminal investigations and also for the purposes of courts, we could go ahead and deploy artificial intelligence. In addition to this, by having all of these positives of artificial intelligence, there are certain challenges that will come about. And the challenges have also been highlighted in a report which was published by United Nations Inter-Regional Crime and Justice Research Institute, UNICRI. So now UNICRI has actually published this report way back in 2020, talking about what are the challenges that are going to be posed by artificial intelligence. So it's not that like the moment artificial intelligence is going to be here, everything would be all hunky-dory. There would be some problems. And the problems that are highlighted by it are not the problems again in the West. Some of the problems have actually been seen in India as well. And I'll start with one of those which became a major controversy in Indian context as well. The problem of deep fakes. Now, I'm not sure how many of us have been accustomed to this term, but what do deep fakes do is that they use the images and the videos that have been uploaded by people on the internet and then tries to create images and videos of the people the way artificial intelligence would want them to use. So let's say I'm the person who knows how to make deep fakes with the help of existing technology, and I want to make a deep fake video of a person saying certain things which they have never seen in their life, right? I will actually use all the data that I have available of that person from all the social networking platforms, let's say Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, and then try to use it to make a video of that person saying something which they actually have never said, but that video would be very difficult to identify as to whether it was a real video or a fake video. Now, deepfakes uses this deep learning technology. This instance happened right before the Delhi Legislative Assembly's elections in 2020, when I think BJP's Manoj Tiwari became the victim of this deepfake. His video was then circulated across the networks. Now, these deepfakes are again going to challenge, of course, the democratic processes, will create or make certain people victims, will also victimize the people who have otherwise ended up raising certain concerns about it. The problem lies even further, not just with the technology, but the reach of the technology. So now if in case I have to go ahead and make the deepfake, I do not necessarily have to know the person or meet the person in person, right? I could just collect the data from the internet, whatever that they have publicly put out there on their, let's say, Insta handle, Twitter handle, Facebook profiles, collect that and use it for my benefit. These are challenges that have been highlighted by UNICRI in its report. Another idea that was also highlighted by them was AI-supported password guessing. So now AI uses this technology to guess the passwords of people. It also supports people to undertake hacking, right? And then also, of course, it impersonates human beings on multiple social networking platforms across all of them. So there are many, many misuses. Now, please engage with all of this that I have said. AI-supported password guessing, AI-supported hacking, and human impressions on social networking platforms. And then you would understand the negative implications of it, because as every technology, it would be a double-edged sword. There would be advantages, correspondingly would come the misuse of the technology as well. Now, my entire discussion for the remaining period of my talk is going to be limited to these aspects, like the negative aspects of it and how they are going to play a role in our criminal engagement with criminal jurisprudence and criminal justice systems. So the fundamental question that we are asking through this conference is actually how do we then go ahead and protect the victims? If artificial intelligence is going to be helping us perform all of these tasks without knowing who's performing them, but the harms would become evident, the question is how do we basically go ahead and protect the victims? The jurisprudential question, however, just doesn't stop here. it goes back to the even foundational question of what constitutes harm in this case, right? For us to consider someone as a victim, as CRPC have to define it, it would say that somebody who suffers a loss or injury. But then to understand that somebody has suffered a loss and injury, we have to first understand what that loss and injury is likely to look like, right? And with artificial intelligence, with limited knowledge that is around the entire technology, but higher deployment of it in everyday affairs of our lives, I think it's important for us to understand how these harms will transpire. So this idea of harm is the one which will require for us to do a bit of an engagement. This harm essentially flows from three important aspects. One is the nature of internet. Second one is the nature of artificial intelligence as a technology. And the third one is the nature of data. Now why data? Because artificial intelligence uses data to perform its tasks. Why internet? Because it collects the data largely available on the internet or otherwise put by people on the internet. And why technology? Because artificial intelligence itself is a technology. Each of these three will come with their own problems. Let's see the first one, the nature of the internet itself. We always believe that whatever that we put on internet cannot or will not ever forget that, right? So that means if I'm putting out something there for your consumption, even for 5 minutes on my Insta profile, that would be taken screenshots of or widely circulated by a lot of people, and then even if I would delete that post, it would still be available with people. So that basically means that internet doesn't forget. When I talk about data, what it also means that if I want to exercise control over what my personal data is, but then I have willingly disclosed some amount of personal data of mine, for me it becomes next to impossible to regain the control over my personal data, right? So again, once the data is compromised on internet or on the networks, my ability to regain the control over the data becomes next to impossible. And the third, when we talk about technology, with artificial intelligence, one of the fundamental problems that is considered as problem across boards is the black box problem. Now, I will kind of like refer to this, but I have to give a background about it. So in the recent past, 2020, 21 and 22, Niti Aayog has actually released certain reports. One of the reports titled as AI for all, it has put it as a hashtag, so it's hashtag AI for all. Niti Aayog basically went ahead and said that we should make sure that we use artificial intelligence for the benefits of everybody. The second report that Niti Aayog also published basically spoke also about how artificial intelligence can be used for the purposes of facial recognition. And of course now we know that facial recognition technology is being severely used, extensively used by many law enforcement agencies for the purposes of prevention of crime. Like I can speak for Mumbai here. So while in Mumbai now we have the police patrol vehicles, they all have cameras on top of them. And then they are actually capturing the images of everybody who is passing on the street, right? And this is in Mumbai currently. However, while I went to Srinagar and Jammu, largely it's there perpetually present. It doesn't matter where you are at, your images are going to be captured. Now, facial recognition technology is going to be used for our benefit. That's the idea that is being perpetuated across this. What is that black box problem with respect to artificial intelligence then? Artificial intelligence is that intelligence because it's the machine which has that intelligence, right? Like so, it decides things on its own for the data that is being fed to it. And the data collected can be through all these cameras, CCTV cameras, internet, everything, and all of that is getting aggregated. But when AI makes certain decisions, or if AI tries to perform certain functions, the makers of the AI themselves would not know how AI has reached to that particular decision or conclusion, right? So that means, to probably simplify this further, is that if artificial intelligence is to make a decision about who's to get the loan based on their credit score, AI would consider multiple factors and then would decide as to whether X is supposed to be, privileged enough to get the loan. And in this context, what was the technology or logic that was followed by AI would not makers of artificial intelligence. That means we do not know on what basis was that decision made. which is a major problem for law, because in law, you cannot reach to a decision without knowing how we have reached to a decision, right? So we need to know the logic behind it. But technology comes with this problem as well. To make it even more important to see how this is going to disrupt everything that we are going to do was the classic case when Amazon in the recent past had actually applied artificial intelligence tool to scrutinize the applications for certain posts that it wanted to fill. So when the applications in a prescribed CV format were submitted to artificial intelligence, it came to the conclusion that the AI kind of somehow blacklisted and did not give importance to women applicants, applicants from a particular racial background, and applicants who are staying in a particular area because PIN codes and the racial majority was So immediately after this came to light, Amazon had to go ahead and shut that entire operation down and stop doing the vetting of CVs through artificial intelligence because of the problems. The important point that I'm trying to highlight is the nature of harm here. Now that means if I am a woman or I'm from a black community, I would basically not be shortlisted for the job even when I would have the requisite kind of experience and qualification. Because AI has already classified me as something who is vulnerable and probably not trustworthy. And that is going to affect my chances to get the jobs. This is discrimination. It is, of course, one kind of harm. Would we consider this as loss or injury suffered by a person by the use of technology? And that's why warranting protection under the law becomes the kind of question that we would definitely have to engage with. Additionally, there is a lot of research that is published because the technology that is being employed essentially ends up profiling individuals, meaning thereby they would end up discriminating against people, or bias would end up existing in the decisions that are being made by artificial intelligence, which would affect the legal rights of persons. And it is in this context, now NITI Aayog has actually spoken about responsible AI for all. It's not just the AI for all, but it's responsible AI for all now. Why that? Because we want to make sure that when we deploy artificial intelligence technology, we would make sure that it is explainable, it is accurate, it is accountable, and it is transparent. Right? And I'll repeat all of that once again because all of these terms are exceptionally important in the entire discourse. It's because AIs have to be explainable, responsible, transparent, accurate, and accountable. Now, of course, we will have to figure out how do we then go ahead and define harm? How do we criminalize certain victimizations through the decisions which are taken by artificial intelligence? And how do we actually let the institutions of victim protection, witness protection, and criminalization and victimization to account for the changes that are being brought in by the artificial intelligence and emerging technologies? I would leave you all with these questions to ponder upon, because these are the questions that are still being debated at national and international level. So as students of criminal law, I think it would be good enough an opportunity for us to contemplate further based on the insights that I have tried to give you in the last 15 minutes. So if there are any questions, I would be happy to take them. Otherwise, I will stop here for my raising of questions for this session. Thank you so much for this opportunity and all that. You're on mute. I can't speak, sorry. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the informative session, sir. I would like to call Prem Piyush Pandey to give vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. It has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful event. I, Prem Piyush Pandey, LM first year student. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of Central University of Karnataka. I would like to extend my heartiest gratitude to King Rohit sir. He talked. I would like to highlight some of the points what he talked. He talked about the emerging technologies, a new chapter to the system of India. Furthermore, he elaborated on how we are surrounded by the AI and the benefits of it to the criminal justice system. How a cloud can behave to protect a crime. He talked about the concept of the deep fakes and the problem of deep fakes. Furthermore, he talked about the AI that supports the user to guess the passwords of it, which is a negative aspect of it, besides the advantage. He talked about the black box problem and what Niti Aayog told, that is AI for all. He described about the problem where AI captures our email, but we don't know how he reaches to the conclusion. Actually, we don't know what is the decision of that decision that has been made. He talked about how AI blacklisted the black women who are not able to get the opportunity. Lastly, he pointed out AI has to be explainable, reasonable, transparent, and accountable. So thank you so much, sir, for being here. We are happy to have you with us. Thank you so much.
For witnesses and undergrads, it is time for us to conclude. ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ತೆರೆ ಎಳೆಯುವ ಸಮಯ ಬಂದಿದೆ. So I welcome the chief guests and the dignitaries to this valedictory session. I welcome Shri K. Dwarkanath Babu, sir, Director, Karnataka Institute of Legal and Parliamentary Reform. Director, sir, please come on to the dais. I also invite Dr. Revaya Odia, sir, Research Head, Kilpar. Please come on to the dais. Sir, I invite now Dr. Devidas G. Male, Dean Faculty of Law, Gulbarga University, Kalburgi. Sir, please come on to the dais. I also invite Dr. Baswaraj M. Kubakadi, Head Department of Law, Dr. Anand Chinchure, sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Law, Coordinator of this conference, to come on to the dais. I also invite Professor S.G. Gaudapanavar, Professor of Law, KLE Societies Law College, Bangalore. A very good evening and a warm welcome again to all of you to this valedictory session. Myself, K.M. Krishna Shekhar Sharma, Research Scholar, Department of Law. Now I invite Dr. Anand Chinchure, sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Law, and also Coordinator of this conference, to welcome the guests.
Thank you, Mr. Krishna. In fact, he is referring me as a coordinator of this conference. The credit goes to all the research scholars and the students of LLM first semester. Give them, all of them, a round of applause. So, it's my duty to welcome today's dignitaries on the dais. I welcome Shri K. Dwarkanath Babu, Director, Karnataka Institute for Law and Parliamentary Reform, Bangalore, who has happily agreed to grace this occasion. But we must appreciate his commitment and his seriousness towards this conference. The whole day he was amongst us. He was keenly observing the proceedings. Thank you for it, sir. And we're looking forward to a similar kind of support in the future. I welcome you, sir. Similarly, I welcome Dr. Revaya Odia, Research Head, Kilpar, for constantly guiding, and I welcome to this collective function, sir. I welcome Dr. Devidas G. Male, Dean Faculty of Law, Gulbarga University, Kalburgi, for chairing the session, as well as a chairman, and for the valedictory function. I welcome you. I also welcome the Senior Professor, Sri H. Gaudapanavar, Professor of Law, KLE Society Law College, Bangalore, to this valedictory function. I also welcome my colleague, Dr. Baswaraj Kubkadi, for taking pain to organize this whole event to and now we are at the verge of concluding. That's a valedictory function. I welcome you, sir. I also welcome all the public prosecutors, law officers for their whole day, their presence in this conference. I welcome you. I welcome all my students from SSL Law College, from Siddhartha Law College, from Karnataka Law College, and the students from different departments, research scholars, advocate fraternity, and all who are here in the auditorium. I welcome you. I welcome all of you once again.
Thank you, sir. Participants were very enthusiastic, and I'm thankful for all of you to participating and being patient, listening to the presenters and all. Now I request, I invite Ms. Gopika, first year LLM student, to present a brief report of the conference.
Good evening everyone. I am Govika Kudmana, Department of Law, first year LLM student, Central University of Karnataka. We have reached towards the end of our one-day conference. I am very proud to present to you the report about our one-day conference on the topic Victim Protection and Criminal Justice for Witnesses and Under Trials. The conference is being conducted by Karnataka Institute for Law and Parliamentary Reform in association with the Department of Law, School of Legal Jurisprudence Studies, Central University of Karnataka. The event had its grand opening by lighting the lamp by Honorable Mr. Justice Ramachandra D. Hooda, Judge High Court of Karnataka, together with Professor Bhattu Satyanarayana, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Central University of Karnataka, Sri K. Dwarkanath Babu, Director Karnataka Institute for Law and Parliamentary Reform, and Dr. Basuraj M. Kubakadi sir, Head Department of Law, and Dr. Anandi Chichude sir and Dr. Renuka ma'am, Assistant Professors, Department of Law, Central University of Karnataka. After the ceremony, Honorable Mr. Justice Ramachandra D. Hooda delivered his inaugural speech. He enlightened us with his valuable words about victim protection and criminal justice for witnesses and under trials. After the inaugural ceremony of seminar, we moved to the paper presentation session. Around 15 participants presented their own presentations. Each and every one of them did their part well. And then we moved on to the remarks made by the keynote panel members, Professor S.J. Gaudappa Rao sir and Praneeth Bharadanu sir gave us his valuable remarks on law, valuable remarks on how to do presentations on effective way. After a great lunch, we started with technical session 1 on the topic victim compensation, possibilities and realities. The resource person was Professor S.J. Gundappa Rao sir, Professor of Law, KLE Society, Law College, Bangalore. And this session was chaired by Dr. Devadas G. Malne, D. Faculty of Law, Gulbarga, University, Kalaburgi. The lecture given by Professor S.J. Gaudappa Rao sir was really informative. I firmly believe that everyone here was benefited. The interactive session after the lecture was very energetic. After a small break, we moved on to the technical session 2, which started with informative and intellectual lecture imparted by Dr. Abhijit Rogi, Assistant Professor, Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai. The lecture was very informative in a true sense. This session was chaired by Sri Pranesh Bardanu, Law Officer Senior, Kalaburgi Division. Now, we are reached towards the closing event of this conference. Then now I am using this opportunity to extend my sincere gratitude to all our guests invited and the esteemed audience. the organizers, our faculty members, research holders, participants and presenters and everyone who assembled here for making this humble event a great successful. Thank you.
Now I request K. Dwarkanath Babu sir, Chief Guest of the valedictory session, to address the gathering.
It is end of the session. I know you don't have patience to listen anything and in a mood to leave the hall. But still, I have been asked to speak something. One thing I have noticed, it is a very useful brainstorming session. Few teaching faculties have presented the paper and students have also presented the papers. Sir, Gaudapanavar has advised you how to present a paper, how you should speak on the dais without fear. If you follow his guidelines, you will be in a position to present in a best manner in your future career. I also agree with him that whenever such short duration is given, you should not keep on reading on your laptop or your notes. You must come with synopsis, bullet points. Then when you read a bullet point, you must be in a position to explain the entire paragraph. And that is the way also tomorrow if you go to the examination, how you should prepare your answers. Nowadays I don't know whether examination is conducted on objective type taking or theory type, I don't know. When we were writing our degree exams, we used to write for lengthy answers. To remember those things, we have to jot down bullet points and have to expand the entire answer. That was our way of answering. However, it was a very good session. I thank all of you for good participation. Participation is important. Whether you win the prize or not, it is immaterial. You have attempted, I appreciate it. Everybody has done very well. And this is the object of our Institute of Law and Parliamentary Reforms. We want student participation. See, you will listen to lecture in your classes and it will be boring for you. Here, one change, you must speak, we will listen to you, we will appreciate and we will suggest what better things you can learn. With that notes, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now it's time to acknowledge and appreciate the knowledge and the presentations of the presenters. Now I will be announcing the winners of this presentation competition. The third prize goes to Mr. Prem Piyush Pandey. Please come out to the second prize, Shyamal Singh. First prize, Farhad Sultana. I request Director Sir K. Dwarkanath Babu sir to award memento and certificate. Hello. Sir, Piyush, Shyamal, please come on to the desk.
Thank you.
Sir Dwarkanath Babu and Ravi Odyar sir. Because of him, this conference is happening. He initiated this. Thank you, sir. Then I would like to thank Professor S.G. Gaudappa Nagar. I'm sure the KLE Society's Law College is very much privileged to have you as a professor of law. We are also privileged that you came here and gave us the lecture. It was extremely informative session, very insightful, sir. You critically analyzed section 357 and 357A. It was extremely insightful. And thank you for the informative session, sir. Then I would like to thank Dr. Devidas G. Male, sir. He is the Dean Faculty of Law, Gulbarga University. Thank you for chairing the session, sir. Then I would like to thank Dr. Abhijit Rohi, sir. He talked about the importance of artificial intelligence and how technology can also be an advantage and disadvantage. Then I would like to thank Shri Pranesh Bharatnoor, sir. He is the Senior Law Officer, Kalburgi Division. He shared with us the practical things that he had faced in the interactive session with S.G. Godappan and our sir. Then I would like to thank the students of Department of Law and other departmental students who have come from outside university, outside of the Gulbarga, from the city of Gulbarga. Thank you for joining us for this conference. At the end, I would like to thank all the organizers, the students, committee members who have worked really hard from 2-3 weeks to make this conference a successful event. Thank you so much.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा बिंद हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय है भारत भाग्य विधाता जय है जय है जय है जय जय